Tonight we're dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses. The title of my book, which I wrote originally in 1953, was Jehovah of the Watchtower. It was the first expose of Jehovah's Witnesses, and when I took it to the publisher told me that it was a great book, but unfortunately he couldn't print it. And I asked him why. He said it's too controversial. And so back in 1952, nobody wanted to deal with the cults in America. And as a result of that, we've got between 34 and 50 million of them crawling all over us in the United States and on our mission fields. And there's a vast number of them here in Canada right now. How many of you have been called on by Jehovah's Witnesses at one time or another? Wave at me. Look around you so you can see. Now, do you know how they accomplished that? They did a market study of all the major cities in the world. And then they designed a plan for calling on every home in each one of those cities 3 times a year. Jehovah's Witnesses call on more homes, start more Bible studies, and make more back calls than all of the denominations of the Christian church combined in the United States or in Canada. They publish more material, Watchtower literature, in 6 months than the major presses of the Christian church produce in a year. When they began publishing in 1879 with the first issue of the Watchtower magazine, they printed 6,000 copies. They now print into the hundreds of millions of copies in more than 100 languages. Jehovah's Witnesses are to be admired, and we can learn a great deal from them because they are extremely dedicated. They know why they believe what they believe, and they are out there trying to get you to believe it also. They do not think that they are false prophets. They do not think that they are non-Christians. In fact, they believe that they are the only true Christians operating in the world right now, and that the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is God's theocratic organization, which means it is the ruling organization of God on the earth. It was started by Charles Russell, who in the back of his clothing store in Allegheny, Pennsylvania in the United States in 1870 began a Bible study. Russell was disenchanted with Orthodox Christianity and had absorbed a considerable amount of material from the Advent movement, but particularly from the Christadelphians, a very small cult. It's still a small cult, but very influential. The Christadelphians denied the doctrine of the Trinity, the eternal deity of Jesus Christ, salvation only by grace, justification only by faith. They denied the personality of the devil, and numerous other doctrines. Jehovah's Witnesses agree with the Christadelphians in a number of places. They deny the doctrine of the Trinity and call it satanic. They deny the deity of Jesus Christ and teach that Jesus was the Archangel Michael, the first and the greatest creation of Jehovah God. They have absorbed many views, ancient and modern, and amalgamated them into the Watchtower's structure. The founder, Russell, predicted the Battle of Armageddon and the destruction of all world governments in 1889 and said it would be in 1914. He said that Jesus Christ had returned to earth invisibly in 1874 and in 1914 would overthrow the governments of the world and establish Jehovah's theocratic kingdom. Russell died in 1916, and of course the Battle of Armageddon had not come. They moved on from there to predict 1918 would be a time of great world conflagration. Instead, it was a time of world peace. They moved from there to 1922 and 1925 when they taught, and all of this in the name of God, they taught that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob would be resurrected to life. And the president of the Watchtower at that time, Judge Rutherford, bought a home, a palatial mansion in San Diego, California, and named it Beth Sarim, the House of Princes. And then he said it was built for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When they were resurrected, they could come and live there. When they didn't show up in 1925, he lived there.